Great. Hi, everybody. It's really good to see you all here, and we are expecting more to come in. Oh my goodness, I'm disappearing. As if I miss what I go all green, which is really bad news. Let me stay back here, and hopefully then I don't turn into a green man. So yeah, it's great for us. You're joining us today on what is a very special and unusual time for us. I don't think we've had a session on a Saturday afternoon before. Feast started in 2018. Here we are in the middle of 2025, and I think this is the very first time that we've done that. Certainly having a session at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But it's a very special time for a very special reason and a very special person indeed, because today we are delighted and honored to be able to celebrate our very good friend and, for many of us, mentor, Dr. Magaret Read MacDonald, who's here with us today, which is fantastic. Hi, Margaret. Thank you so much for joining us. It must be some awful time for you. What time is it for you now?
It's 11:06 in the evening.
Wow, very good. So yeah, if we and hopefully, unlike Cinderella, you're not going to kind of disappear halfway through somebody's story.
Well, we hope not. We have just watch out at midnight.
Exactly. I can't believe there's anybody here who doesn't know about Margaret. And if I was to give a full and proper introduction to her, it probably would be midnight by the time I'd finished. But let me just say that she's not only a storyteller and a folklorist and award-winning children's book author who has published more than 65 books, not only collections of stories and individual stories, of course, but also many books about storytelling, which have been lifesavers for many of us. And of course, many of those books have been translated into many languages too. Also, we were talking earlier about the Storytellers source book, which is described as a subject title and motive index to folklore collections for children's stories. And that is a fabulous resource. Good luck to you if you can find a copy. They come up very rarely on kind of library sales, don't they? She has been a wonderful resource for us here at Feast from the very, very beginning. Has been a strong supporter from the moment when Sheila and I and Jiva first kind of raised this at one of the storytelling festivals in 2017 in Bangkok. And we first floated this idea of having a storytelling organization to promote storytelling in Asia. And we have been most grateful for that and for your support throughout, not only online, but also at our conferences too, Margaret. So thank you very much for being with us today and for giving us a reason to have a third story swap in 2025. We started in February with one where we shared stories inspired by our Prop Swap series. And then last month, of course, we celebrated World Storytelling Day with a fabulous collection. And I'm sure that this afternoon we have another very diverse and entertaining selection of stories. But to introduce the storytellers, I'm going to hand over to my good friend who's known Mara, I think, even longer than I have. Kiran, over to you.
Thank you, Roger. Yes, Margaret and I and Sheila, I think we met in 2000, 2001, somewhere around there. And she's been such a wonderful guide, mentor, friend, and a generous sharer of tales. She's made her stories so tellable for us beginner storytellers when we were starting out that we could just pick up any of her stories and run with them. And that is her special gift to us. And today we thought that we asked people to submit applications, and let me tell you, we had a bit of a difficult choice. Two of the feast directors got knocked back because we thought we should have people who haven't had the opportunity, a lot of opportunity to have this platform to share her stories. So we'll get right into it. And our first storyteller for this session is Padma Priya, all the way from India, and we'll let you take it away, Padma.
Thank you, Kiran, for the wonderful introduction. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Feast, for providing me this opportunity to present my story as retold by Margaret Read MacDonald. Margaret, I'm so humbled. I've picked the story, The Squeaky Door. I love to be with children, especially primary, pre-primary, so I think this would be my choice. So let's dive into this story. Once there was a little boy who went to his grandma's house for a sleepover. And his grandma welcomed him and she had a surprise for him. And she said, "Boy, look there. There is a big brass bed and you got to sleep all alone in the bed tonight. Are you going to be scared?" The boy said, "No, not me. I'm going to sleep there." At night, Grandma tucked the boy in and she kissed the boy goodnight and said, "When I go out of the room and switch off the light and close the door, are you going to be scared?" The boy said, "No, not me." So Grandma tiptoed out of the room, turned off the light, and closed the door. Grandma rushed back to the room, turned on the light, and she saw the boy. "Were you scared?" "No, not me." "I think you were scared. Would you like to sleep with the cat?" And the boy said, "Oh, yes, yes, yes." So Grandma tucked the cat inside. She kissed the boy goodnight. She kissed the cat goodnight. And she said, "When I go out of the room, turn off the light and close the door, are you going to be scared?" And the boy said, "No, not me." So Grandma tiptoed out of the room, turned off the light, and closed the door. Grandma rushed back to the room, turned on the light. She saw the boy. "Were you scared, little boy?" No, not me." "I think you were scared. How about sleeping with the dog?" And the boy happily said, "Yes, yes, yes." So Grandma brought a dog from the kennel. She tucked the dog in. She kissed the boy goodnight. She kissed the cat goodnight. She kissed the dog goodnight. And she said, "Little boy, when I go out of the room and switch off the light and close the door, are you going to be scared this time?" And the boy said, "No, not me." So Grandma tiptoed out of the room, turned off the light, and closed the door. Grandma rushed back to the room. She turned on the light. "Little boy, were you scared?" "No, not me." Grandma said, "I think you were scared. How about sleeping with a pig?" Yes, 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 yes," said the boy. So Grandma tucked the pig inside. She kissed the boy goodnight. She kissed the cat goodnight. She kissed the dog goodnight. She kissed the pig goodnight and said, "When I go out of the room and turn off the light and close the door, are you going to be scared this time?" And the boy said, "No, not me." So Grandma tiptoed out of the room, turned off the light, and closed the door. Grandma rushed back to the room. She turned on the light and she saw, "Were you scared, little boy?" "No, not me. It was not me." "Oh, I think you were scared. Would you like to sleep with the horse?" So Grandma brought a horse. She tucked in the horse. She kissed the boy goodnight. She kissed the cat goodnight. She kissed the horse goodnight. She kissed the pig goodnight. And she said, "When I go out to the room, turn off the light and close the door. Now, are you going to be scared? No, not me, Grandma, said the boy. So Grandma tiptoed out of the room, turned off the light, and closed the door. Quick, quick! Nah! Grandma rushed back to the room, turned on the light, and she saw, were you scared? Dawn! The bed broke. Now, Grandma pulled the horse outside. She took the pig outside. She took the dog outside. And she took the cat outside. She gently lifted the little boy and took to the grandpa's room. And that night, the boy slept with his grandma and grandpa. Next morning, Grandma came back to the room with her toolkit and she just took a hammer. She took a nail. She fixed the broken brass thread. And then she took an oil can and she went on near to the door and she applied oil to the hinges of the door. Glub, glub, glub. Glub, glub, glub. Oh, glub, glub, glub some more. Glub, glub, glub. Glub, glub, glub. Oh, yeah, the door is no more squeaky. That night, Grandma made the little boy sleep on the big brass bed and said, she tucked the boy inside and said, when I go out of the room, turn off the light and close the door, are you going to be scared? And the boy said, no, definitely no, not me, Grandma. So Grandma tiptoed out of the room, turned off the light, and closed the door. She waited outside the door for a while, and all that she could hear was that night. That boy slept peacefully in his grandma's house. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, Padma, I am so impressed with your ability not only to remember the repetition, but to flick that switch on and off at the right time. I don't think it's something I could do very well, to be very honest.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. From India, we now move to South Korea. And let us welcome Alicia Dongbuja. And here you are, Alicia. It's good to see you.
Good to see you. Hello, everybody.
And Alicia, please take it away.
As a storyteller, one of my happiness moments in my journey has been sharing meaningful stories and building memories with a mentor, Margaret Read MacDonald, who has become more like family than anything else. And today, so actually, Margaret and our first meeting was back in 2014, and now 10 years later. One of my favorite story is the old woman and her pig, and it's such an honor to share her story with this, all of you. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. Can you imagine? Just close your eyes, and if you buy a cute little pig, how'd you feel? Happy? Yes, let's sing a song together. Going to town, gonna buy a little pig. Chick-chock, chick-chock, chickity-chick. This is a story moment. While I'm telling a story, and you are going to take a picture just like this. Once upon a time, an old woman lived in a house with her grandson. One day, the little boy found something shiny. Grandma! Grandma! Come, look at this. I found something shiny. Oh, really, look at this. Oh, find something shiny. A Cooper penny. Ah, my little boy, I'm going to town and buy a little cute little pig for you. Oh, honey, you should stay home and take care of the house. And I'm going back home until dark. Okay? The little boy said, okay. The grandma went down the road and across the bridge. She was so happy. Of course, she started to sing. Everybody, let's sing together. Going to town, gonna buy a little pig. Chick, chuck, jiggity, jig. Good job. When she arrived at the pig market, the old woman, oh, Mr. Pig Farmer, okay, here is a shiny copper penny. I would like to buy a very cute little pig. Oh, shiny copper penny. Okay. Oh, already. Pick any pig what you want. Okay? So, Grandma, look closely. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Okay, I'm going to choose the giant pig. And Grandma put the giant pig and started to go home. They were so happy, of course, and they started to sing. Went to town and I bought little pig. Chick chock, jiggity jig. And then something bad happened. When they arrived at the bridge, Jian Pig, oh, she was so scared. I don't want to. Oh my little pig, don't do that. Okay, you have to cross the bridge. Oh, look at this, I'm so scared. Oh, the bridge is too high and the water is too deep. I'm so scared. The woman and the little old woman was so sad. She looked up at the sky and said, oh no, I can get home to little boy tonight. It's already dark. The moon does shine. At the moment, the old woman saw a dog. Oh, dog, that's good. Oh, would you bark at the pig? Please help me. And if you bark the pig ran across the bridge and I can get home tonight, please. But the dog said, no, why did I? No, I don't want to. The old woman so sad. I can get home to my little boy tonight. It's already dark. The moon does shine. Squeak! And then a little mouse came along. Oh, little mouse, please help me. Please help me. Could you nip the dog and bark at the pig? The pig can cross the bridge and I can get home tonight, please. Tick, 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 tick. No, I don't want to. Why? It's too bad. I can get home tonight and it's almost dark. The moon does shine. And then the old woman saw a cat. The cat appeared. Oh, cat, please help me. Would you catch the lad and the lad and nip the dog? Dog barked at the pig. The pig ran across the bridge and I can get home tonight. Please. Oh, really? Why? Oh, please, my little boy was waiting for me. Please, it's already dark. She must be very scared. Oh, little boy, Oh, old woman, the little boy who gave some water when I was so thirsty? Yes, that's him. That's him. Oh, that's the little boy who scratched my back. Yes, that's him. That's right. Okay, he's very kind. Okay, now I can help you. And dog, cat, meow, chase the rat, and read the dog, barked at the pig ran across the bridge. The old woman chased the pig, and they were so happy. Oink, 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 oink. Went to town, gonna buy a little pig. Oink, 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 oink. Chaka! Very good. At last, she got home, and she asked, "Oh, my little boy was scared, right?" The little boy said, "No, I wasn't." Yes, it was dark, but the moon did shine. And it is the end of my story. Thank you, everyone. And remember, it may be dark, but the moon still shines. And kindness always finds its way back. Thank you. 감사합니다.
Oh, Alicia, what a wonderful spin you put on Margaret's story. Love all the voices. And I like that very Korean. That was very Korean and very delightful. Thank you so much. From Korea, we're moving back to India. And let's welcome Sangeeta. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here today. It's a very special day for me, a special moment for me, and I feel very privileged. So, thank you, Feast, for this opportunity. Um, I live in Kerala, and I started my storytelling journey a few years ago under the brand name the Read Club. Read stands for Read, Explore, Ask, Discover, with the objective of inculcating love for stories, books, and reading in children while nurturing their curiosity, imagination, creativity, and thinking skills. So here I am today. The story that I've chosen today is Turtle of Coca, and this is from the Storytellers startup book by Margaret Read MacDonald. When I came across this story for the first time, I was just fascinated how simple it is, and I loved the story. So I want to share it with you all and hope you enjoy the story as much as I did. So without much ado, let's get into the story. One day, a man of Lubila Suku caught a turtle. He brought it into the village and announced, "Let's all have turtle stew." The people of the village gathered around him in excitement. "Turtle stew, wonderful, wonderful." But someone said, "How do we kill the turtle?" Another man in the crowd replied, "Why, let's just use a hatchet." The turtle was listening to this conversation with intent. When he heard the word hatchet, he got scared, but he put up a brave face, stood up straight, and laughed and said, "Do you think a hatchet will hurt me?" And then he began to sing and dance braggingly. "Turtle of coca, hard, hard shell, hatchet of coca, can't hurt me, no, 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 Now, you and I know that a hatchet will break the shell and kill the turtle. But here, the turtle just fooled the people by his bluffing because he sounded so confident and so brave. And the people thought, If not a hatchet, what shall we use then? Another man replied, oh, let's just use a knife. And once again, the turtle stood up, put up a brave face, and he laughed and said, knife? You say knife? A knife cannot hurt me. And he began to sing and dance, braggingly once again. Turtle of coca, hard, hard shell, knife of coca, can't hurt me, can't hurt me. What? A knife also cannot hurt this turtle? Then what shall we use? And somebody said, let's just use a big stick and we'll beat him up. I'm sure that will break his shell and kill him. The turtle, he was scared, but he stood up bravely and laughed and said, big stick, big stick. You think a big stick can hurt me? Nah. And he began to sing and dance once again. Turtle of coca, hard shell, hard shell. Big stick of coca, can't hurt me, can't hurt me. No, no, no. Now the people of the village began to name one item after another to break the shell and kill the turtle. And every time the turtle stood up bravely and sang braggingly his song. And at last, someone said, if none of these items are going to kill him, let's just throw him into water. He's sure to drown, die, and float up. Then we'll pick him up and make a yummy turtle stew. What do you say? Now, when the turtle heard the word water, he was filled with excitement because water is his home. But he didn't show his excitement. He pretended to be very scared. He said, no, water of coca, no, turtle of coca, die, no. And then the people said, so water it is. That is what he's afraid of. So let's just throw him into the river. And they took the turtle, marched to the river, and threw him in. Now you and I know that water will not hurt the turtle. They waited and watched. The turtle sank into the water. Look. And they waited for it to appear, dead and floating, so that they can have their turtle stew. But did that happen? No. But instead, in a few minutes, the turtle swam up to the surface of the water, popped his head up, looked at them, and laughed and said, water of coca, my home. And he began to sing and dance. Water of coca, that's my home, that's my home. Water of coca, can't hurt me, can't hurt me. Bye, 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 bye. And he dove into the water and swam away. And the people of the village never, ever saw him again. Thank you.
Thank you, Sangeeta, for that delightful story with your original song to a familiar tune. That's something I can relate to because I can't make up tunes, so I cheat.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
I do too. I do too.
Lovely. We'll move on now. We go to Singapore and we welcome Sheila, my sister in storytelling. And Sheila, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to tell one of my favorite MRM stories, and I've had this book. I just looked up since 2002 when I bought it, and Margaret signed it for me. And I've used stories in this book and all the books throughout my storytelling career. And I do a lot of work with preschool, and this gets trotted out a lot. In fact, only on Friday I told it. So, this is a story from Australia, and maybe this story is thousands and thousands of years old, and it's about two very good friends. I'm going to introduce you. One is Koala, and Koala's best friend was Kangaroo. But this is not the kangaroo that maybe you're thinking of. This is Tree Kangaroo. And Tree Kangaroo and Koala lived very close together and did everything together. They were usually very happy until there came a time when it didn't rain. And it didn't rain, and it didn't rain, and it did not rain. It did not rain for a day. It did not rain for a week. It did not rain for a month. It did not rain for a whole year. And the green leaves on the trees turned brown and fell. And the green grass turned brown and withered up. And the water in the ponds and the billabongs and the rivers, they went down, down, down. The water went down, 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 until there was no water left, only dry, hard mud. And Koala and Tree Kangaroo were worried. You would be worried, wouldn't you? Because you know that if you don't drink water for a few days, you will die. And so they decided they had to think hard. And so they thought and they thought and they thought and they thought, until suddenly Tree Kangaroo said, "Oh, I remember something. I remember something. I remember when I was very young, when I was still in my mummy's pouch. There was a time like this. And my mummy, she took us on a journey. We went up a hill and down a valley, up a hill and down a valley, up a hill and down a valley, until we came to a dry riverbed. And there, my mummy, she dug and she dug and she dug a deep hole. And at the bottom of the hole, there was water. And I drank and she drank. And we had enough water until the rain came again." "Oh, you think you can find that place?" "I can try," said Tree Kangaroo. "Then let's go," said Koala. And so they went. And can you come with them? They went up a hill and down a valley, up a hill and down a valley, up a hill and down a valley, until they came to a dry riverbed. "Is this the place?" said Koala. "Let me see," said Tree Kangaroo. And Tree Kangaroo looked this way and that way and this way and that way. This is not the place." "Then let's go," said Koala. And so they went. Up a hill and down a valley, up a hill and down a valley, up a hill and down a valley, until they came to another dry riverbed. "I hope this is the place." "Let me see," said Tree Kangaroo. And Tree Kangaroo looked this way and that way and this way and that way. This is not the place." "Then let's go," said Koala. And so they went. Up a hill and down a valley, up a hill and down a valley, up a hill and down a valley, until they came to one more dry riverbed. "This better be the place," said Koala. "Let me see," said Tree Kangaroo. And Tree Kangaroo looked this way and that way and this way and that way and this way and that way and this way and that way. "Yes, this is the place." "Right," said Koala. "Tell you what, I'll go and rest in the shade of the tree over there, and you start to dig. When you're tired, you call me, and then we can swap. I will dig, and you can rest in the shade of the tree." Now that sounded like a good idea. So Koala went to rest in the shade of the tree, and Tree Kangaroo started to dig. Can you help him dig? And he dug and he dug and he threw out the dirt. And he dug and he dug and he threw out the dirt. And he dug and he dug until he was so tired. "I'm tired, Koala. Come on, it's your turn now." "I'm coming," said Koala. And Koala took 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. Then he said, "Ow, ow, I've got a thorn in my paw. It hurts. I'll have to sit down." And so Koala sat back down in the shade of the tree, and Tree Kangaroo had to carry on digging. And he dug and he dug and he threw out the dirt. And he dug and he dug and he threw out the dirt. And he dug and he dug until he was so tired. "Come on, Koala, it's your turn now." "I'm coming," said Koala. Koala took 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, and he said, "Ow, ow, my tail." Now, in those days, koalas had big bushy tails. "My tail hurts. I'll have to sit down." And Koala sat back down in the shade of the tree, and poor old Tree Kangaroo had to carry on digging. And he dug and he dug and he threw out the dirt. And he dug and he dug and he threw out the dirt. And he dug and he dug. "Oh, oh, oh, Koala, I think we're near the water. It's damp down there. Come on, it's your turn." "Ah, well, you've done all the work. You should have the fun of finding the water. You just call me when you find the water." "All right." And Tree Kangaroo carried on digging. And he dug and he dug and he threw out the dirt. And he dug and he dug and he threw out the dirt. And he dug and he dug until he saw at the bottom water, water. There's water at the bottom. Now, the moment Koala heard the word water, he dashed over, he pushed Tree Kangaroo out of the way, and he stuck his head in the hole and slurped up the water. Tree Kangaroo stood there with Koala's big bushy tail waving in his face. He was angry. He had done all the work, and now Koala was drinking the water first. It was not fair. And because he was angry, he did something that maybe he shouldn't have. He caught hold of Koala's big bushy tail and he pulled. Oh, he pulled it so hard, it came off. There it was, lying in the dirt. Well, Koala came out of that hole pretty quick. He looked back. His tail was gone. But he didn't say anything. He knew he'd been lazy. He knew he had not done his part of the work. He knew he had not been a good friend. And if you go to Australia today and see a koala, look behind. They don't have a tail anymore. And that's to help us remember that we mustn't be lazy. We must always do our part of the work. And we must always be a good friend.
Thank you, Sheila. You know, I still have the memory of Margaret doing that story with the digging.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So you brought it all back again. That was lovely. Thank you. And now we have a very special treat because we're going back to India, not with one teller, but with two. And we have Bhanumati and Ambujavali, who are going to do a tandem tale. Where's Ambu? There you are. Okay, let's take it away.
Thank you. So it's a very, very special day for us. This story which we are going to share now, I heard it from Jiva for the first time. And then I followed up and I watched Margaret's story. And this story, maybe you know, this story and another of Jiva's story, that is the Party Speaks, these stories, I can say I would have told more times than they themselves would have shared. And telling this in front of Margaret today, bilingually in Tamil and English, is a very, very special moment for us.
Yes, it's a great honor, Ambu, for both of us to share the story in front of Margaret. Margaret, this moment brings me the memory of Vayupa as well, because this story was done by Vayupa and Margaret as a tandem. So I remember Vayupa here. Thanks to Jiva for all this, because I have met Vayupa and Margaret in person. So I feel so blessed. Thank you, Jivaka.
Maybe Margaret could actually just comment on the stories that we've heard. Maybe would you prefer to do that?
Okay, okay, the first story was
Padma.
Door. Anyway, so this story I thought you were telling was hilarious. I don't know how you thought I had the thought of the idea to blacken the screen or how you even did it, but that was really effective. So often we have to tell on over Zoom instead of in person. So it's great to have techniques like that you can use over Zoom that are very effective. So what'd you do with it? But how'd you make the screen go black?
Turn off the light. I'm sitting near the switch. I'll switch the light off.
You actually put the light out. Oh my goodness. I thought you'd cover
That's
this.
great technology.
Yeah,
I am sitting near the switch, so
that's so clever.
I have closed. It's very hot here and it's so bright, sunny even inside the closed door. So I've used many blankets to shut all my windows. Screens were not enough, so and then just a light, a tube light, and then I'm sitting close to the switch, and I have this with me. You have to, wet your hands, make your fingers damp, and then do it.
That's for the door.
Yeah.
That's for the door. And for lights, I have switches.
Wow.
And then you've got to find the light in the dark to turn it back on again.
It should not be too dark. If it's too dark, then my video will go off. So like minimum light should be there. I allowed a little bit of light to penetrate somewhere, and then I've made this setup.
Wow.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Well, I was going to talk a bit about where I got the story. A storyteller from New Zealand came to my Bothell library and told the story. And I thought it was a story from New Zealand. So I was telling it and saying, here's a photo from New Zealand. And then I discovered that it was actually from Puerto Rico. And it was actually a song originally, a song called La Cama, the bed. And so then the whole story was told as a song. And then someone took that and used the theme of the song to put it back into actual folktale. So who knows what came first, the song or the story? But anyway, and I also found a version from Chile of the same story. So it maybe told all over Latin America. But that's where it went. So
I'm so humbled and privileged to present this story and as retold by you. Thank you so much, Feast. Thank you so much, everybody, for this opportunity. And I saw all the comments. Thank you so much for your lovely comments. Thank you, Margaret. I'm so happy seeing you here.
and thank you for the brilliant new technique about to tell it online on Zoom. Although I'm not sure I could manage to put all the lights out and then find them to get them back on again. That sounds a little tricky.
No, I tried making sounds using my mouth also, like and that did not come out well. I thank you, Kiran and Ambu. I was asking them what can be done, and somehow I could make it using a balloon.
Okay, very good. And so the next story that we heard was from Alicia Oldham and her pig, and I think you probably all know that is actually a British folktale originally. And I really liked. I found this version in a collection of folktales from Kentucky, and an old grandmother in Kentucky was telling the story, And the version that I found actually had the song that she sings when the lights go, when it's almost dark and I can't get home to my little boy. It had the music and everything for that song. It didn't have the Jig Jog Jig song, and I added the Jig Jog Jig song, and I also added the cat the cat having been fed with the little boy and stroked with the little boy. I kind of added that. I kind of like that. It's kind of kindness brings its reward because the boy was kind. So now he's kind to him. And Alicia, I just really loved the gestures that you made. It's so amazing. I worked really hard to shape these stories so that they're really easy to tell. And then you folks take them and just change them so much. They're just so brilliant the way you guys adapt them and make them your own. I love it. Absolutely love it. An anecdote about the Open Pig. I'm not sure I should tell this or not, but I was telling this story to a whole school a whole class full of kindergarten and first graders, and there were lots of parents and teachers at the back of the room. And every time I would come to the part in this story where it says, and it's almost dark, but the moon does shine. And all the teachers and parents would start cracking up laughing every time. And I turn it again, it's almost dark, but the moon does shine. And they'd crack up laughing. And afterwards I said, what was going on? Why were you laughing? There was a kindergarten in the front row. I'm not sure if you know the tradition or not in your countries, but in the US, if people want to be really sassy, usually teenage boys, they lean over and pull their pants down and show their shiny rear end. And it's called, every time I said, the moon does shine, this little girl would bend over and drop her pants and moon the audience behind her. Laughing. Okay, so thank you, Alicia, for sharing this story and for doing it so beautifully. I like the way everything you added to it. It's really cool. And the next story that we heard was Turtle of Coca, and that's from my book, the Storyteller's Source book. No, the Storyteller's Startup book. Beg your pardon. And this story I found in a collection of folktales from Angola in Africa. It was a collection called Folk Tales of Angola, 50 Tales with Kimbundo text by Haley Chatelan, published in 1894. And I used to find a lot of my stories that I used by going to the University Library at the University of Washington and just bringing home piles and bags of books from the folklore collections there and going through them, looking for anything that had a chant or a song, because I really love chants and songs in my stories. And this one, I saw that little chant, turtle of cocoa, hard, hard shell. But that's really going to work. So I just elaborated that. And I love the way you did it. It was so fun. The way you sang it was really, really delightful. And I just love the way you put energy into that story. It was really fun.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to share, if I may. I first of all, I can't believe I'm sitting side by side with you on the screen. Okay, it's like a dream come true. I have watched you on YouTube only, and it's a dream come true. So, thank you again. So I just shared the story recently with a group of children. I'm doing a Think with a Tale series, and the moment I finished the story, one 8-year-old, he said, "Ma'am, how do you get these lovely stories?" And I then told him about you. And then everybody loved the story. And they said, it's really nice. And then it's such a simple story. And then the question they asked was, were there no clever people in the village? Why were they all fools? That's the question they had. And I'm like, so the thing is about to think with a tale. And so I told them, yes, it happens. Sometimes even the most intelligent people, when they want something really badly, they don't think so much. They just want it. So that's how we started talking about scams and how discounts happen, stores kind of, lure people through bluffing. And sometimes when we want something really badly, we just believe whatever the other person says. And that's how, we took the story and then they shared their experiences. It's really nice. So that's why I know I love the story. It's simple, but I love it for the, what you can think, what you can get from the story as well. Thank you so much, Margaret.
Yes, yes, yes. And I was reading it just now in the notes for my book that it said that in that area, a turtle is a very small turtle, and it lives both on the land and in the water.
And
So, which kind of helped explain why it could fool them, because they caught it on
yeah,
the, that was a land turtle, but it really
right,
had.
right.
It
So
had
we,
to
we
do-
we did, yeah, we did a lot of exploration about tortoise and turtle and, all the differences. So many things we could derive from just the simple story. So it was very nice. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, and the next story is Sheila, and it is the koala and tree kangaroo, which is from the book she already showed you. But the source I got it from was it was a collection by A.W. Read, Aboriginal Legends, Animal Tales. It was collected a long time ago, and I'm sure he didn't have permission to put them in books. Once then, Ellen Mackay worked with Pauline MacLeod, Frances Fairbrace Jones, and June Barker to do this collection. And June Barker retells the same story in here.
You've given me I remember asking you, and you gave me from that, because that name, the name of that book really is very familiar. So I remember we went through this.
Yeah.
Is it okay to tell it or not?
Yeah,
Yes.
well, in the introduction notes, it says all stories have been approved for public telling.
Yeah.
So you can't just take any Aborigine story and tell it, because they're sacred and they aren't to be shared. But the storytellers got permission, and I know Pauline taught me the one story that I tell about Old Man Wombat.
Yeah.
In a workshop, she taught us that, and she had gone to her mob and asked permission to teach it for educational purposes.
Yeah.
So I think these are safe to tell.
Yeah, and it is very educational. I mean, it really is such a good book, a good story about, doing your part, pitching in, not being.
Yes.
Yeah, and the kids really get it. You don't have to hammer it home.
Yeah. Okay, go for it.
Oh, wait a minute.
Spotlighting.
Can we take Margaret out?
Yep.
I can't take Margaret out.
Yeah, she's out.
Okay, we need to put Banu in.
Okay.
Mala.
Hill,
Mala.
hill,
ஆடு
goat,
ஆடு
goat.
ஆடு கீழே வந்தது
Goat came down.
ஜிமிக்கு சிக்காஞ்சம் ஜிமிக்கு சிக்காஞ்சம்
Chickity chop, chickity chop, chickity chop, chop.
பாலம் மேல நடந்தது
Walked on the bridge.
டக் 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 டக்
Trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap, trap.
புல்ல நல்லா மேஞ்சது
Ate the grass.
அச்சுக்கும் 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 அச்சுக்கும்
Yum, 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 yum.
திரும்ப வீட்டுக்கு போனது
Went back to home.
டக் 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 டக்
Trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap, trap.
ஜிமுக்கு சிக்காஞ்சம்
Chickity chop, chickity chop, chickity chop, chug. Goat came down.
ஆடு கீழே வந்தது
Chickity chop, chickity chop, chickity chop, chug.
ஜிமுக்கு சிக்காஞ்சம்
Crossed over the bridge.
பாலம் மேல நடந்தது
Trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap, trap.
டக் 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 டக்
ate some grass.
புல்லனெல்லாம் மேய்ஞ்சது.
Yum, 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 yum.
அச்சுக்கும் 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 அச்சுக்கு.
Went back to home.
திரும்ப வீட்டுக்கு போனது.
Trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap, trap.
டக் 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 டக்.
Jiggity jock, jiggity jock, jiggity jock, jock.
ஜிமுக்கு சிக்கான் ஜிமுக்கு சிக்கான் ஜிமுக்கு சிக்கான் ஜிம். ஒரு நாள்
One day,
2 ஆடு வந்தது.
both goats came down.
ஜிமுக்கு சிக்கான் ஜிமுக்கு சிக்கான் ஜிமுக்கு சிக்கான் ஜிம்.
Jiggity jock, jiggity jock, jiggity jock, jock.
பாலம் மேல நடந்தது.
Walked on the bridge.
டக் 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 டக்.
Trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap, trap.
நான் தான் முதல்ல வந்தேன்.
I came first.
நான் தான் முதல்ல வந்தேன்.
I was the first one to come.
நீ திரும்பி போ.
You go.
நீ திரும்பி போ.
You better go.
ஆஹா.
Mm-hmm.
ஓஹோ.
Oh.
மட்ட 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 மட்ட. கோபா.
Dishum, 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 dishum. Splash.
தண்ணிக்குள்ள விழுந்தது.
Fell into water.
நீந்தி மேல வந்தது.
Swam and came up.
சலக்கு பலக்கு சலக்கு பலக்கு.
Splish, splash, splish, splash.
ஜிமுக்கு சிக்கான் ஜிமுக்கு சிக்கான் ஜிமுக்கு சிக்கான் ஜிம்.
Jum-ka-chicka, 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 jum.
பசியோட இருந்தது.
They were hungry. Another day, both goats came down.
2 ஆடு வந்தது.
Jim-ka-chicka, jim-ka.
ஜிகிடி ஜாக் ஜிகிடி ஜாக் ஜிகிடி ஜாக் ஜாக்.
பாலம் மேல நடந்தது.
Went over the bridge.
Tuck, 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 tuck.
Trip trap trip trap trip trap trip.
நேத்து ஞாபகம் வந்தது.
Thought of the previous day.
என்ன பண்ணலாம்?
What can we do?
எப்படி கடக்கலாம்?
How do we cross?
விட்டு கொடுத்து.
Bend and cross.
வளைஞ்சு நெளிஞ்சு.
Twist and cross.
விட்டு கொடுத்து வளைஞ்சு நெளிஞ்சு வளைஞ்சு நெளிஞ்சு விட்டு கொடுத்து.
Bend and cross, twist and cross, bend and cross, twist and cross.
Tuck, 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 tuck.
Trip trap trip trap trip trap trip.
Achika mochika, achika mochika, achika mochika, achika mochika. Tuck, 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 tuck.
Trap trip trap trip trap trap.
விட்டு கொடுத்து வளைஞ்சு நெளிஞ்சு வளைஞ்சு நெளிஞ்சு விட்டு கொடுத்து.
Cross, bend and cross, twist and cross, bend and cross.
நீ நல்ல நண்பன்.
You are a good friend.
நீயும் நல்ல நண்பன்.
You are a good friend.
இப்ப போகலாம்.
Let's go now.
நாளைக்கு பார்க்கலாம்.
Let's meet again.
Tuck, 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 tuck.
Trip, trap, trip, trap, trip, trap, trip.
Jimka chikan, jimka chikan, jimka chikan, jim.
Chickadee chop, chickadee chop, chickadee chop, chop.
சந்தோஷமா இருந்தது.
Goats were happy.
கதையும் முடிஞ்சு போனது.
And that's the end of the story. Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you. Margaret.
Oh my girls, what an amazing being able to remember to switch. That was quite an achievement. And Banu, well done, both of you, cool and calm. And despite technical difficulties, that was most impressive. Margaret, would you like to comment? And then after that, we will bring everyone together.
Yes, definitely. That was so much fun. The Tamil language seems to be incredibly musical. I love hearing Jiva tell, and the way it's just incredible. The sounds that you guys make with your language, I love it. For a great language for storytelling, I can tell. That's great. Yeah, that story, it's very interesting. It's a story that I created when I was in Indonesia telling, and I was telling to teenagers, and they didn't have any English, so I had to make something really, really simple. And in my book Peace Tales, I had opened each section with a story about goats on a bridge, and the first was a photo from Russia about the two goats that were bad and fell in the river, and it was just that half of the story. That's all I found in that book, and I had that as an introduction to my Pathways to War. And then for the Pathways to Peace, I had found another version, also from Eastern Europe, but not Russia, about the goats that cooperated. So I put them together that day when I was in Indonesia and created this little finger play story. And then this is what happens with folklore. You can actually create folklore, it turns out, I did, because I told it and I taught it to everybody all over Southeast Asia and Korea and everywhere else that I went. I taught this story. And at some point in time, John Titi from Kenya, I don't know if he came here or if Roger went there or
I was
both.
there, yeah.
You went there, Roger?
Yeah.
Anyway, he learned it apparently from Roger. And now there's an incredible video that you can see on YouTube. Just type in John, John Titi, Titi, of him telling this. And he's put in a song and made it a Kenyan folktale and has the whole audience singing and dancing along with the story. It's definitely a Kenyan folktale now. And I made it up, but folklore, there it goes. It's just incredible. I love it. So thanks for choosing that one. It's one of my favorite stories, and you guys did it beautifully. I hope you'll
Yes.
get together and keep sharing.
Yeah.
I just have one thing to share. So
Margaret,
this
thank
story,
you.
when we shared in our workshop, one of the workshops, the student, he took it to the other classmates, and one full classroom of 60 people, he was teaching them in Tamil, and that was the video was shared with me from the school. And yeah, the same thing which I was mentioning before, which I had tagged you in Facebook also. So yes, the two goats that you created is traveling across the world. Thanks so much for.
And who's doing the
Smile.
screenshot?
Padma Priya's doing
Smile,
it.
smile.
I'm doing.
And I'll take a photo as well.
I can't get them the right way, this way.
There we go.
Done.
Padma, you
Thank
got that?
Yeah, I got
You
it.
got
Yeah.
that?
Well, we're going to open this up now.
No, we have a story from Margaret, don't we?
Yes.
Oh, of course.
I don't know
Carried
where
away.
it is.
Margaret. Margaret. Well, the grand dame of storytelling. And Roger has already said quite a lot, but I'll add on a couple more things. Margaret has been very involved with the National Storytelling Network in the United States. And in 2019, she was given the Oracle Award for Lifetime Achievement. And last year, in 2024, and this just cracks me up, Margaret, you got the Distinguished National Service Award. I think of national service and it's military here, but as I was just so tickled. But we all know what it means for her more than 50 years now in storytelling, first as a children's librarian. Can you imagine having a surname like Read and being a children's librarian? I think that's the ultimate. So, Margaret, we're all ears.
Story of little basket weaver. And the story is from Vi Hilbert, who's an Upper Skagit elder in our area here, the Pacific Northwest. And this is her story. She told it to me and sent me a copy that I could use. And interestingly, the story is not actually from her people. It's from the Klickitat people who live just over the mountains. And this is a cedar basket, so it's not as tightly woven as the one in the story. This girl had trouble thinking. It was hard for her to figure things out, and the other girls wouldn't play with her. One day she was sitting all by herself under the cedar tree, and the tree bent over and spoke to her. Girl, why are you by yourself? Why aren't you playing with the other children? They don't like to play with me. I can't understand their games. I don't understand things very well. Well, that's too bad, said the cedar tree. But I have an idea. Would you like to learn how to make a cedar basket? Oh, I couldn't do that. I can't understand directions and things like that. Oh, no, I can teach you. It would be easy. No, I know I couldn't do it. Girl, could you try? Yes, I could try. That's all we need, said the tree. And the tree told her everything to do. How to go and dig certain roots from the tree, how to prepare them, how to take bark from the tree, and how to prepare it, and how to weave. And she wove and she wove and she wove and she wove, and she wove a little cedar basket. The tree said, that looks good, girl. Well, now go bring me water in it. It's to bring water. She took it to the stream. She dipped it. She brought it back. It was very light. She held it up, and the tree looked. The tree said, girl, the water ran out. You didn't weave it tight enough. You have to do it again. Again. So she went and took more roots and prepared them and took more bark from the tree and prepared it. And she wove and she wove and she wove and she wove. And she wove another cedar basket. Okay, said the tree. It looks good. Now go bring me some water. She went and she dipped in the stream and she brought it back, and it was heavier now, and she held it up. It was half full of water. That's better, said the tree, but it's not good enough yet. Can you do it again? Again. So she dug more roots and prepared them and took more bark from the tree and prepared it. And she wove and she wove and she wove. She wove and she wove and she wove and she wove. And she wove another basket. She held it up so the tree could see it. The tree said, girl, it looks really good. I have an idea though. You want to weave a little design in the top of the basket? You could copy my branches. I like that idea. And she wove a little design around the top. And throw it to the tree. Yes, it looks perfect now, said the tree, but you've got to bring me water. She went to the stream, she dipped, she pulled, and she showed it was really heavy. It was full to the brim with water. Girl, you have done it. You have woven a perfect cedar basket, said the tree. Now what should you do? Now what should you do? I think I should weave more baskets and give them to all the elders in my tribe. Yes, said the tree, what a fine thing. Do that. But think carefully, girl. Is there anything else you should do now that you know how to weave cedar baskets? I think I should teach. I should teach all the girls and all the women how to weave cedar baskets. Yes, said the tree, that is what you should do. And today, because of that one girl, all the girls and all the women in the Klickitat people know how to weave beautiful cedar bark.
Wow. What a beautiful story. What a beautiful story. Thank you, Margaret.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so glad we've got, as Kieran mentioned earlier, we do have quite a number of our the participants in the storytelling course, the Foundations of Oral Storytelling, who are watching today. And I just thought that was just a wonderful example how you characterized the tree and the girl, and it's just in the voice, just in the way, the tone shift. You know, you can really, yes, you can. Like, you know, will you try? Beautiful, beautiful, so simple and yet so clear how you can do that. It's just, and in fact, I think the whole session has been a really wonderful illustration of so many of what the aspects, the features of storytelling that make it special. The amount of repetition that we've had, the chorusing, the songs, the refrains that have been the hallmark of actually so many of your stories, and I think which draws so many of us to want to share them and why they too get retold. But I'm sure there are lots of people here who've got questions. It's been really nice to hear from several people who've said, you know, it's been a wonderful opportunity to tell with you, be on the same platform as you. I know that for me, that was a huge thing when I started out, you know, in the Storytelling Festival here in Singapore back in early, you know, 2000, whatever it was, and to be part of a showcase and to be on the same stage with you, that was just really big, I think, for anybody of us who was there. So if anybody has a question that you would like to ask Margaret, let's take that chance. We won't go this on too long before otherwise she might fall asleep. She still needs her beauty sleep, of course. And it's now well past the midnight hour. So I'm sorry that I don't have a prince waiting for you in the wings, chasing after you, Margaret, but there we are. If you have a question, just put it into the chat.
Can I just say quickly something?
Yes, Jiva, please.
Margaret's stories are so powerful. If a monkey becomes the storyteller, even the monkey can tell. Thank you.
Thank you. That's really high praise, Shiva.
Right. And you're not thinking of anybody in particular when you say that, I hope.
Roger, don't get me into trouble, please. I'm trying to be very quiet and well behaved here.
Yeah, very good. And listen, can I just pick up because Margaret, you know, you mentioned that the video of John. If there's anybody here who, because as Kiran said right at the start, we had a big trouble trying to decide who we could, you know, there was a lot of people who wanted to tell. That if anybody who's watching now has a video and they'd like to share that link, then please forward it to us at feaststory.gmail.com. I've created a page on our website where I'm going to upload the recording of this session. We've already got a fabulous recording sent from Jeff Gear of him and Margaret having fun practicing a story and him really messing around and causing her all sorts of challenges as they were rehearsing. So as I say, if you want to do that, I'm going to upload the John story to that. You can find it. Margaret's also sent us a detailed bibliography, and there's also a link on that page. So if you wanted to download that, because as I mentioned, over 65 books. If you were looking, or you wanted to go to Better World Books and see if you can pick up a copy of something that's been around for a while and maybe out of print, then that will give you an idea of some titles that you might be looking for.
I want to make a comment.
Yeah.
The first workshop that Margaret gave in Singapore, she picked me to tell with her the Gecko Can't Sleep story. And there I was the village headman, and she acted out all the other parts, and then she told me what to say. And that was my very first introduction, Margaret, which I have never forgotten. And that story stays with me and is on the Feast website for the story in the spotlight for April. And I chose to do it for the first time ever bilingually. Now, English is, you know, my mother tongue is Gujarati. And I have to say, you don't use words like firefly in everyday conversation. So I had to rely on my relatives to give me some translations. But that was just something that will stay with me. And I've got a beautiful gecko puppet now, so that will also travel with me.
I have two things to say. I remember my first few times telling stories and actually attending Margaret's workshops in Singapore. And I think Margaret is also a very good facilitator to get us to hands-on practice telling, and from there learn the. Also felt that you presented storytelling in a non-intimidating way for new people, because I've seen different styles, and sometimes some are so theatrical you feel like there's no way I can do storytelling that way. But you made it easy. I just felt like the way you facilitated, you made it like it's easy for anybody at different level, even different language level, to pick up that telling skill. And then the second thing was, I remember having the opportunity to have a meal with you and you chatting how you actually went to, I think you said 24 libraries to tell that one story. Yeah, in your younger days, and that's how these stories get into you. And I realized, oh, it's about practice. The more you practice, the better you get at it. And that one story, it will just evolve and get better. It's just, yeah, it belongs to you. So I appreciate that advice, and it still it still runs in me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I love hearing that people are actually telling the stories, and that it actually works sometimes under the workshops.
I just want to add one more thing. Sorry, there's so much to tell about Margaret because she's my, I know everything in storytelling. The thing is, whenever I tell her stories, if she's there, she would tell me, that's not how I wrote it, but I like your version.
I'm glad
But
you could.
really, honestly, it has helped me so much. Yeah, thank you, Margaret, for everything.
Yeah, if I can just add to Sui En, you sit down and have a meal with Margaret. I won't say at your peril, but it can be life changing. Similarly for me, I again, one of the advantages of the festival in Singapore, it was very small, and so you could, I was able to sit down and have tea with Margaret. I mean, as somebody who's really just putting their toes into the water. And she's talking to me, and she says, "Oh, I've just come from I can't remember, South America or Central America, and I was telling there, and then on my way back, I've come here, and then on the way back, I'm going to be stopping in Iceland." And I kind of said to it, "Just a minute. So you get paid to go? They fly you down there to South America, yes, and they pay you to tell stories, yeah. And you're going to And I suddenly realized there was a job here, that there was such a thing as a professional storyteller, and it was like, what? Really? And just listening to you describe it, Margaret, I thought this is the most amazing job. And I said to myself, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. It took me about 7 years to do it, but thank you very much. Because if I hadn't sat down and had that tea with you, I would never have become a storyteller.
Oh. Well, I'm very glad you did, Roger. And I just want to say something to Margaret, because a lot of my work is teaching storytelling, and I love it. And I have learnt from you how to give stories to people, to beginners, that are very easy, that are very tellable. And I always feel when I'm writing down a story, I'm channeling you. It's like Margaret is coming there, and it's all like little short lines and very, very oral. And that's been a real blessing that you taught me that. Your books have and you have given me that, and it's so wonderful. I mean, I've taught thousands of people now. You must have taught hundreds of thousands, but to see people, in a very short time, suddenly think, I can do this. It's magic. It's magic.
It's so lovely to see it just going on and on and on in circles, because I mean, I teach you, and then you teach more, and then some of them go out and teach others.
Basket weaver.
I have a question with regards to how you go about researching your stories in the pre-internet days, because you started so many years ago. And how did you go about doing that?
Well, like I was saying earlier, I would every spring I would tell stories in 10 different libraries, and I mean into 10 different schools around my library to talk about summer reading club. So in April, I would go to the University of Washington Library and pull down off the shelves any collections that looked like they had little chants or songs or anything that might have stories I could use. I'd bring home 2 big canvas bags full of these, and I would sit down and just go through them page by page, looking for stories I thought might work. And then I'd photocopy out the ones I thought would work. And then when I started going to the schools in June, I'd go in with a new story every day and try it out. And I'd be telling it to 7 different classes every kindergarten through 6th grade. So I'd get
And
if it was cheaper, I'd go home that night and type it up.
and do you,
Try
yeah.
another one.
And also, have you, like when you travel to places, sourcing for stories from the people in those lands
Actually, I don't go out looking for stories because that would
before?
be, no, I don't go out intending to collect stories because that's hit and run folklore. I don't really believe in that. If I want to study an area, I'm going to go and spend a long, long time. And the only actual folklore research I did was in my own hometown of Scipio, Indiana. And I spent 10 years going there and had 500 hours of tape before I wrote my book about that area. So
Right.
I wouldn't just go into Australia and suddenly try to collect
No,
stories.
no.
But when I'm traveling, often people like I was in Georgia, in the country of Georgia, and they were saying, "What? We don't. None of our books are. None of our stories are in your books. Put our stories in your books." And often when I travel, someone says, "No, no, put our stories in," and then they tell me stories. And when I was in Saba at the library, one of the librarians there said, "Your stories remind me of things that my grandmother told me." And Jen and Nat were with me. We were traveling, telling stories all over Saba at library. It was libraries. It was doing SARS, and they had to leave Hong Kong, so they were with me in Saba. And and she said, and I said, tell me one. And we were driving back from our gig, and she began to tell this incredible story. So I put up my notebook and began to write down the outline, and Nat began to write down or make note of the songs that were in it. And then that night I went to the hotel and asked for a typewriter, and I typed it all up and brought to her the next day and said, "Is this close?" And she said, "Yes, that's it." And the next year I went, she says, "Bring a tape recorder." I thought of more stories that my grandmother told me. And they're in the Singing Top, the
Yes.
collection of stories that yeah. So I don't really go out looking for them, but sometimes people just gift me stories when I'm traveling.
Nice. And how many unpublished manuscripts have you got sitting on your table in your study?
Right there. All of those.
Oh my word. Could you share a little bit about the process that goes into the written to the publication form?
Well, I don't really compose them by writing them. I compose them by telling them. So I find a story I like, and then I tell it over and over again until it shapes, and then I type it. I type it up. And of course, what takes and then of course I'm going to edit and edit and edit. And if it's going to be a picture book, I'm going to edit it so many times, just over and over and over. And then I'm going to have a dummy of the picture book, and I'm going to take that to schools and read it aloud. Here's the latest one. We just have a brand new book that Jen and Nat and I just did. Jen and Nat and I.
Oh, yes.
Cinderella.
Oh, okay.
And so here's the dummy, and I would just read it to groups, and it hasn't been illustrated yet, and at this format. But then I just write in as I'm reading it, then I write in anything that changes. As I after that, I know it went wrong, and then as a final test, I give it to my son-in-law, not Nat, the teller, but my other son-in-law who works for Microsoft or did, and so I have him read it, and if he stumbles, I know I've got a word wrong still. It has to be so perfect and so oral that any random father can tell it. Pick it up and read it. It's going to sound good. Like Jiba just said, any monkey can read this story. It's going to sound like they practiced and rehearsed it and know what they're doing. So that's. But then, of course, trying to get them published is, and now folk tales are pretty much out of fashion right now in the children's publishing world. But trying to get things published is, and of course, all of my editors have retired. Oh, you can start all over at my age. I'm 85. No one's going to take a story, publish a book by an 85-year-old person because, how much mileage you got left in them, right? So
a lot, I think, Margaret, a lot.
I think so. I hope over 10 years, but anyway, tell that to an editor. But anyway, so we self-published this. And it came out pretty good. So it can be bought on Amazon for like $7 or $9 or something.
I will go and buy right now.
It's really fun. It's a version Jen found when she was in studying in France, and it's a sassy Cinderella.
You should bring it to the conference, Margaret.
Hey, what?
You should bring it to the conference in 2026 to Chennai.
I guess I should.
That means you're coming.
That you didn't know this until now.
Good idea. Roger.
That would be amazing.
Brilliant.
Can I just pop in for 1 second? That growing up with Mom as a this prolific writer, storyteller, I just want to add in there that she was doing all this work while she was being a really fabulous mom. Like she was, driving the carpool and taking my sister and I to all of our activities and listening to us, talk until 10 o'clock at night about what was going on at school or all of that kind of thing, while she was, we went to the University of Washington last week just for a visit, and I had these flashbacks to being in that space, the library at the University of Washington, with Mom looking for the books and putting them in her bag and taking them home. And there was just, she just is this force of nature that just keeps working and keeps collecting, and still now, right, keeps sharing and keeps telling. And I'm just so grateful that this whole community, I'm grateful to have been connected to this community through her and her work. And just, it's so delightful to see this today. So thanks for gathering and for sharing and hearing all these different voices, sharing the stories that we've heard so many times throughout the years. So we love you all, and are so grateful for all of that. So.
Well, I think we've had a really good session, and perhaps it would be good at this point to say a final thank you and a farewell. So thank you very much to all our tellers today for joining us, for the diversity of sharing those stories. Thank you so much, Margaret, for being with us, for sharing that story as well. Okay, and also giving us the insights into how the stories were collected. We're certainly going to be sharing the story of moonshine to our the kind of things that you have to kind of tell on. Fortunately, that you weren't aware of it. I think if it's, I'd love to know how you would have reacted, if you were seeing that as you were telling the story. But let's not go there. All right. Yeah, wonderful.
Just have Justin and Plotluck coming up.
Just Tell is a program for any of our members to come and tell a story. Let me again link that to what Sheila was saying about one of Margaret's great strengths in terms of making anybody feel that they could tell a story and feeling, have the confidence to give it a try. That what is precisely what Just Tell is about. Come along and just tell. And if you want to get some feedback from very kind and supportive listeners, then you can have it. Plot Luck is our improvisation group, which continues. We've had a new influx of blood with some of the people from our foundations course. And that happens on the last Monday of every month. So thank you very much, everybody. Let's just put our hands together. Final time.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for staying up, Margaret. I know you go to bed late, but still.
Yes, thank you. And I hope if we don't meet before, we will see you in Chennai.
Yes.
September 2026. But I'd like to meet before that.